Your sister deserves success more than you ever will. My name is Eaton Henderson, and for 32 years, those words defined my place in my family. While my younger sister Sophie collected Instagram followers and my father Robert built his real estate empire, I quietly built something they never saw coming, an $8.5 million architecture firm that would soon flip our entire family dynamic upside down at the most prestigious event of the year. What happened when my father discovered my Forbes feature and demanded I hand over my $2.3 million penthouse to Sophie? The answer involves 500 witnesses, a mayor's endorsement, and the most satisfying plot twist of my life. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. This is the story of how staying silent became my loudest statement. Growing up as Robert Henderson's daughter meant living in a constant state of comparison. My father, a successful Seattle real estate broker, had very specific ideas about success, and I never fit the mold. Sophie's got the personality for business, he'd tell clients at dinner parties while I sat quietly in the corner. Eaton's more of a behind-the-scenes type. Sophie, 3 years younger, learned early how to work this dynamic. She'd flutter her eyelashes, post another selfie, and Dad would transfer another 1,000 into her account for brand development. Meanwhile, I worked 3 jobs through college, studying architecture at the University of Washington. The difference became crystal clear at my graduation in 2014. I'd earned summa cum laude honors, won the Dean's Award for Innovation, and had already secured a position at a respected firm. But when I walked across that stage, my family's section sat empty. They were in Los Angeles that weekend, supporting Sophie's appearance on a reality show that never aired. "We thought you'd understand," Mom texted later. Sophie's opportunity was time-sensitive. Everything was always time-sensitive with Sophie. Her modeling gigs that went nowhere, her influencer courses that cost thousands, her networking events that were just parties. By 2019, she'd burned through 6 careers and Dad's patience, though never his wallet. I stopped expecting them to show up. Birthdays passed unnoticed, promotions uncelebrated. When I was featured in Architectural Digest's Rising Stars in 2018, Dad's only comment was asking if I could get Sophie connected with the magazine's lifestyle editor. But here's what they didn't know. Every snub, every dismissal, every forgotten milestone was quietly building the foundation for something extraordinary. While they focused on Sophie's visible failures, I was constructing an invisible empire. Everything changed at a sustainable design conference in Portland, February 2019. I was presenting my paper on affordable housing when Marcus Smith, a partner at Foster Plus Partners, approached me during coffee break. "Your concept for modular low-income housing is revolutionary," he said, handing me his card, "but you're thinking too small." Too small? I'd spent months on those calculations. Marcus smiled. "You're designing for the firm you work for, not the firm you should be running. Success doesn't need an audience, Eaton. Let your work speak." That conversation haunted me for weeks. I was making $65,000 a year, giving my best ideas to a firm that barely credited me. Sophie had just launched her 7th business venture, personalized astrology readings, and Dad had invested another $30,000. By March, I'd made my decision. I filed the paperwork for Henderson Architecture Studio, LLC. Business license number WA 2019-4429, issued March 15, 2019. Starting capital, $5,000 from my savings. Office, my studio apartment's kitchen table. I didn't tell my family. Why would I? They'd either dismiss it as another Eaton hiding in the background situation, or worse, tell me to hire Sophie for marketing. Marcus became my unofficial mentor, reviewing my proposals, introducing me to potential clients through email, always encouraging me to think bigger. "Cities don't change through small gestures," he'd write. "They transform through bold vision, backed by meticulous execution." My first client came through a connection from the conference, a small community center renovation, $50,000 budget. Nothing glamorous, nothing Instagram-worthy. But it was mine. Every line, every calculation, every late night, mine. The check cleared in May 2019. Henderson Architecture Studio was officially in business, and my family had no idea. That's exactly how I wanted it. From 2019 to 2024, I built my company the same way I'd lived my life, quietly, methodically, and completely under my family's radar. Year 1. 3 employees, $400,000 in revenue. Small commercial projects, nothing flashy. At family dinners, when Dad asked about work, I'd say, "It's fine," and redirect to Sophie's latest venture, a failed podcast about authentic living. Year 2. 8 employees, $1.2 million revenue. We won our first municipal contract. The same week, Sophie announced she was becoming a business coach, despite never running a successful business. Dad funded her certification. Year 3 brought the breakthrough, the Metro Housing Initiative. The city of Seattle needed innovative low-income housing solutions. My modular design could house 200 families at 40% traditional cost. We competed against 12 major firms. On January 8, 2024, Mayor Patricia Williams sent the email that changed everything. Congratulations, Ms. Henderson. Henderson Architecture Studio has been selected as the lead firm for the Metro Housing Initiative. Contract value, $8.5 million over 3 years. By mid-2024, we had 47 employees across 2 offices. Our 2024 revenue projection, $8.5 million. My personal net worth had quietly crossed 7 figures, not counting the assets I was about to acquire. Meanwhile, my family still thought I was a mid-level architect somewhere. At Christmas 2023, Dad actually said, "Maybe Sophie could help you network better, Eaton. She knows how to put herself out there." I smiled and nodded, thinking about the email from Mayor Williams saved in my drafts folder, the Foster Plus Partners collaboration taking shape, and the feature Forbes was preparing for their 30 Under 35 issue. They had no idea what was coming. Neither did I, really. In June 2024, I did something I'd dreamed about since college. I bought a home that was entirely mine. Not just any home, a penthouse at the Emerald Tower in downtown Seattle. The numbers were staggering. $2.3 million, 3,200 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay from the 42nd floor. The closing was June 15, 2024, handled through my attorney to keep my name off public records initially. I'll never forget the first night I stood in my empty living room, city lights spreading beneath me like a circuit board. This wasn't just property, it was proof. Proof that the quiet daughter, the behind-the-scenes type, had built something extraordinary. I didn't tell my family. How could I? Sophie was still living in a one-bedroom apartment in Ballard, constantly posting about manifesting abundance while borrowing money for rent. Dad would either demand to know why I hadn't helped Sophie first, or, worse, exactly what he'd eventually do, claim it should be hers. The penthouse became my sanctuary. I furnished it slowly, carefully, a custom desk where I could work on proposals, built-in shelves for architecture books, a kitchen designed for someone who actually cooked instead of ordering takeout for Instagram photos. My assistant, Janet, was the only one who knew. "You deserve this," she said during a planning session at the penthouse, "after everything you've built." "It's just a home," I replied, but we both knew it was more. It was independence crystallized in concrete and glass. 3 months later, Sophie posted another apartment tour video, complaining about her temporary situation while manifesting her dream home. The video got 2,000 views. She had no idea her dream home was already occupied by me. October 15th, 2024, started like any other Monday. I was reviewing proposals when Janet knocked on my office door, tablet in hand, grinning like she'd won the lottery. "It's live," she said, turning the screen toward me. Forbes, 30 Under 35 architecture innovators who are reshaping America's cities. There I was, number 7 on the list. My professional headshot, a photo of our Metro Housing Initiative model, and the headline that would change everything. Henderson Architecture, from 0 to 8.95 cents in 5 years, how Eaton Henderson is solving Seattle's housing crisis. The article detailed everything: our innovative modular designs, the municipal contracts, the upcoming Foster plus Partners collaboration, revenue figures, employee count, future projections. 5 years of silent work suddenly broadcast to the world. My phone started buzzing immediately. Colleagues, clients, competitors, everyone had seen it. Everyone except the people who mattered most, until— "Your father subscribes to Forbes," Janet said quietly, "for his real estate business." My stomach dropped. Robert Henderson religiously read Forbes every morning with his coffee, looking for market trends and bragging rights about deals. He'd probably already seen it. Sophie would know within hours. She had Google alerts set for anything remotely connected to our family name, hoping to leverage connections. I pulled up my phone, no calls yet. Maybe I had time to— 47 missed calls, all from the same number. Dad. The text preview showed 3 words: family meeting, now. I looked at the Forbes article again. There was no hiding anymore. 5 years of careful construction, and now the scaffolding was coming down. The only question was whether I'd be standing on solid foundation or rubble when the dust cleared. The quiet daughter was about to get very loud. October 16th, 2024, 7:20 a.m. My phone looked like a crisis center dashboard. 47 missed calls from Dad, 18 from Sophie, 12 from Mom, 23 texts ranging from "call me immediately" to "how could you lie to us?" Even relatives I hadn't heard from in years were suddenly concerned about family transparency. Sophie's Instagram DMs were a masterclass in escalating panic. "Is this real? 8.5 million? Dad is losing it. You owe me an explanation. This is so unfair I can't even." I made coffee, answered 3 client emails, and reviewed the gala program for tomorrow night. The Pacific Northwest Architecture Association had sent the final schedule. My award presentation was set for 8:45 p.m., prime time. At 7:47 a.m. my doorbell rang. The doorman hadn't called up, which meant— through the peephole I saw them. Robert Henderson in his power suit, jaw clenched like he was about to close a hostile takeover. Sophie beside him, phone already recording, wearing designer workout clothes that cost more than most people's rent. "I know you're in there, Eaton," Dad's voice carried through the door. "Your doorman already confirmed it." Of course he'd intimidated my doorman. Robert Henderson didn't take no for an answer. It's what made him successful in real estate and impossible as a father. I counted to 10, straightened my shoulders, and opened the door. "Good morning," I said calmly. "I wasn't expecting—" "You've been lying to us," Sophie interrupted, shoving her phone closer. "My followers deserve to know how you've been hiding millions while I've been struggling." The entitlement in her voice was breathtaking. But it was Dad's expression that caught me, not just anger, but calculation. He was already planning how to use this. They pushed past me into my penthouse before I could object. Sophie's phone swept across the space like a weapon, live streaming to her 50,000 followers. "Oh my God, look at this place." She spun in a circle, designer sneakers squeaking on my hardwood floors. "My sister has been living like this while telling us she's doing fine." Dad stood in my living room, taking inventory like an appraiser. His eyes cataloged everything: the custom furniture, the original artwork, the view that real estate agents would kill for. "Family doesn't keep secrets, Eaton," he said, voice dangerously quiet. "How could you?" "I didn't keep secrets. I just didn't announce—" "You lied," Sophie interrupted, still filming. "Every family dinner, every time I asked for advice, you sat there pretending to be nobody while you were— this." She gestured wildly at my success. "I never pretended to be nobody. You just never asked what I was actually doing." Dad's face darkened. "Don't get smart with me." You've been building this empire while your sister, your own blood, has been struggling to get her brand off the ground. Sophie's had more funding than most startups, I said carefully. That's different, Dad snapped. She's been public about her journey, vulnerable with her failures. You've been selfish, hoarding success while family suffered. Sophie had moved to my home office, gasping at my awards wall. Is that a letter from the mayor? Guys, you won't believe this, she told her phone. My sister, the one who never supported my businesses, never shared my posts, she's been secretly rich this whole time. This is exactly the kind of family betrayal I talk about in my coaching program. Sophie, stop filming in my home. Our home, Dad corrected. Family shares everything. Sophie needs this penthouse more than you do. Dad delivered the statement like a verdict, standing in my living room as if he'd already taken possession. Excuse me? I couldn't have heard him correctly. You heard me. Sophie's influencer career is at a critical juncture. She needs a backdrop that matches her aspirations. This place, he gestured at my carefully curated home, would transform her brand overnight. Sophie nodded eagerly, already framing shots with her phone. My followers have been asking for apartment tours. This would literally change everything. I could get sponsorships, brand deals. You want me to give Sophie my home? Not give, Dad said smoothly. Transfer. You can afford another place. The Forbes article made that clear. Sophie can't. Family helps family. I've already told my followers about a surprise announcement, Sophie added. 30,000 people are waiting for tomorrow's house tour. You wouldn't want me to disappoint them, would you? The entitlement was breathtaking. They'd been here less than 10 minutes and were already redistributing my life. No, I said simply. Dad's expression hardened. No? No. This is my home. I earned it. You earned it by being selfish, Sophie snapped. By hiding your success instead of lifting up family. Do you know how many opportunities I could have had if people knew my sister was some big architect? Your failures aren't my responsibility, Sophie. The silence was deafening. Dad stepped closer, using his height advantage, a tactic from his negotiation playbook. You have 3 days, he said quietly. Transfer the penthouse to Sophie, or you're no longer part of this family. And trust me, Eaton, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you really are. What kind of person is that? The kind who chooses money over blood. If you've ever been treated like the family ATM, or had relatives who only called when they needed something, hit that subscribe button. Your support helps me share these stories that need to be told. And comment below, what's the most outrageous thing a family member has asked you for? I read every single comment. Now, let me tell you what happened when I finally said no. 3 days, Dad repeated, pulling out his phone. The architecture gala is October 18th. I've already reserved a VIP table, invited my business partners, and told them about Sophie's big announcement. What announcement? I asked, though dread was already pooling in my stomach. Sophie smiled, the same smile she'd worn when she'd convinced Dad to buy her a car for her failed mobile boutique. That I'm launching my architecture-adjacent lifestyle brand. From this penthouse, it's perfect timing. The gala, the Forbes article mentioning our family name. I'll be the accessible face of architectural living. You don't know anything about architecture. I don't need to. I know about lifestyle, aspiration, making complex things relatable. Besides, she tossed her hair, people prefer authentic enthusiasm over boring expertise. Dad nodded approvingly. Sophie's already drafted the press release. Henderson Architecture meets Henderson Lifestyle. It's synergy. You can't announce something that doesn't exist. It will exist, Dad said firmly. When you do the right thing, transfer the penthouse, we announce Sophie's brand at the gala, everyone wins. And if I don't? Dad's smile turned cold. Then I'll make sure everyone at that gala knows exactly why you're not there. How you abandoned family, chose greed over blood. I know half the people attending. They trust my opinion. Your little company might survive, but your reputation won't. Sophie fake dabbed at her eyes. I just wanted us to be real sisters, supporting each other. But you've always been too good for us. That's not 3 days, Eaton. Dad headed for the door. Oh, and I'd prepare that transfer paperwork if I were you. Sophie's followers are expecting that tour on Saturday. The door closed with expensive silence. 3 days until everything exploded. After they left, I slumped against my door, mind racing. The architecture gala. Dad had turned it into his stage. I pulled up Instagram. Sophie's story was already viral. Big announcement coming at Friday's gala. Dad's got us the VIP table. 500 plus architecture industry leaders about to witness something amazing. Hatchard Henderson takeover Nashtar architecture babe. The comments were flooding in. Her followers were convinced she was about to announce some massive collaboration. Dad had been busy too. I found his LinkedIn post. Proud to announce the Henderson family will be making a significant contribution to Seattle's architecture community this Friday. My daughter will be accepting a major honor. He'd tagged his business partners, clients, even competitors. The man had invited everyone who mattered in Seattle real estate. They all assumed he meant Sophie. She was the visible daughter, the one he always promoted. My phone buzzed. Email from the Pacific Northwest Architecture Association. Dear Ms. Henderson, this is your final confirmation for the Emerging Architect Awards ceremony, October 18th, 2024. As discussed, you'll receive the award at 8:45 p.m., followed by your 10-minute keynote. Mayor Patricia Williams will present the award personally. The $250,000 grant will be transferred to Henderson Architecture Studio upon completion of your speech. Please prepare remarks about your Metro Housing Initiative. International press will be present, including representatives from Foster Plus Partners. Congratulations again on this achievement. I read it 3 times. Dad had invited 500 people to watch Sophie win an award that was actually mine. He had no idea what he'd just set in motion. Sophie's countdown continued on Instagram. 72 hours until everything changes. Dad says this will be the biggest moment of my career. She wasn't wrong. It would be the biggest moment, just not the way she expected. I forwarded the award confirmation to my personal attorney with one line. Please verify this is legally binding and cannot be revoked. Within an hour, she responded, confirmed. The award is yours. Contract NYSHA C 2024-8847 with the city explicitly names you as lead architect. No one can claim this for you. Also, Marcus Smith from Foster Plus Partners called. He'll be introducing you personally. Marcus. My mentor would be there to witness either my triumph or my family's attempt to destroy me. I pulled up the gala website. There it was, in the program. 8:45 p.m., Emerging Architect Award Presentation, recipient, E. Henderson. E. Henderson. Just vague enough that Dad had assumed it meant Sophie Eleanor Henderson, not Eaton Henderson. His arrogance would be his downfall. My phone rang. Janet. Boss, did you see Robert Henderson's Facebook post? He's claiming his daughter is about to become the youngest award winner in gala history. The comments are insane, people congratulating him, saying they always knew Sophie was special. How many people has he invited? From what I can tell, every major player in Seattle real estate. Plus, Sophie's got 50,000 followers watching her countdown. She's at a salon right now, live streaming her preparation. She just said, by Friday night, everyone will know the Henderson name means excellence. She was right about that, just not in the way she imagined. Janet, I need you to do something for me. Contact the gala organizers. Confirm I'll be attending but entering through the speaker's entrance, not the main doors. You're going to let them think you're not coming? I'm going to let them think whatever they want. Reality has a way of correcting assumptions. This is going to be brutal. No, I said quietly. It's going to be honest. The next 48 hours became a masterclass in family manipulation. First came Grandma. Eaton, honey, your father told me everything. I'm so disappointed. Sophie's always looked up to you, and now you won't even share your success? That's not how I raised you. Then the aunts, a coordinated attack over group text. Family supports family. Sophie's trying so hard. Don't be selfish. Your dad's reputation is on the line. Mom finally called Wednesday night, her voice carefully neutral. You know how your father is about public perception. Just consider what you're doing. Sophie's already told everyone. The humiliation would destroy her. What about my humiliation, Mom? Years of being ignored, dismissed, forgotten? A pause. You're stronger than Sophie, you always have been. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Meanwhile, Sophie's social media had become a countdown clock. 48 hours until my life changes forever. Complete with professional photo shoots at various Seattle landmarks, each post tagged #architecturebabe, #Henderson. Legacy, #watch this space. Dad's secretary called Thursday morning. Mr. Henderson wants to confirm you received the Penthouse transfer documents he sent. I received them. And? And nothing. He said to remind you that your family's table is in the front row. Everyone will notice if you're not there. I'll be there, I said truthfully. What I didn't say was how I'd be arriving or in what capacity. Thursday afternoon, Robert sent one final text. Last chance, Eaton. Transfer the penthouse or tomorrow night becomes very uncomfortable for you. I looked at my gala dress hanging in my closet. Elegant, understated, perfect for accepting a $250,000 award. Tomorrow night will definitely be uncomfortable, I texted back. Just not for me. He didn't respond. He thought he'd won. Thursday evening, Sophie went live on Instagram. 75,000 viewers. She'd bought promoted placement. Okay, family. Tomorrow is the day. I'm going to be honest with you all. This has been such a journey. From failed businesses to finding my true calling. And tomorrow, at the Architecture Gala, with 500 industry leaders watching, I'm finally going to show everyone what a Henderson can do. She panned the camera across her apartment, landing on a $5,000 designer dress. Rental, but after tomorrow I won't need to rent anything ever again. The comments exploded. Queen! So proud of you! Henderson Dynasty incoming! She'd hired a professional photographer, a videographer, even a social media manager to live tweet the event. The #, Sophie Henderson Rising was already trending in Seattle. My dad has been incredible, she continued. He believes in me when no one else does. Unlike some people in my family who hide their success and refuse to help their own sister. A viewer asked, Is your architect's sister going to be there? Sophie's smile turned sharp. Oh, I'm sure Eaton will show up. She wouldn't want to miss seeing what real success looks like. Plus, Daddy made it clear. Family shows up for family, or they're not family anymore. She ended the stream with a promise. Tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. Pacific Time. Set your alarms. You're about to witness the birth of an empire. I watched from my penthouse, the city lights reflecting off my windows. Sophie had never submitted a single architecture proposal in her life. Never designed anything beyond Instagram layouts. Never built anything but castles in the air. Tomorrow, gravity would finally catch up with her. Friday, October 18th, 2024. 2:00 p.m. Don't embarrass us tonight, Eaton. Dad's voice through the phone was steel-wrapped in silk, his closing deal tone. What exactly would embarrass you, Dad? You know what I mean. Sophie's moment doesn't need your drama. Either show up and support your sister or don't show up at all. But if you try to make this about you, make it about me, how could I possibly do that? I know you, Eaton. You're bitter about Sophie's success, about the attention she's getting. But if you try to sabotage tonight, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are. I've got connections you can't imagine. I'm sure you do. I'm serious. Half the city council will be there, the mayor, every major developer. One word from me about your difficult personality and your little company becomes toxic. No one works with someone who betrays family. Interesting theory. It's not a theory. It's a promise. Sophie's getting that award, the penthouse, and the future she deserves. You can either smile and clap, or you can lose everything. Your choice. I'll be there, Dad. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Good. And Eaton? Wear something appropriate. This isn't about you. He hung up. I looked at my speech cards on the desk. 10 minutes about innovative housing solutions, community impact, and the future of Seattle architecture. Mayor Williams had personally requested I mention the city partnership. I called Marcus Smith. Are you coming tonight? Wouldn't miss it. I heard your father's been telling everyone his daughter is winning the award. He has. Does he know? No, Marcus chuckled. This is going to be interesting. That's one word for it. October 18th, 2024, 7 p.m. The Fairmont Olympic Hotel glowed like a beacon in downtown Seattle. I entered through the speaker's entrance, my elegant black dress understated compared to the peacocking happening in the main ballroom. Through the service corridor, I could hear the crowd, 500 of Seattle's most influential people, all here for architecture's biggest night. Janet met me backstage. Your family's table is front and center. Your dad's holding court like he owns the place. Let me guess. Telling everyone about Sophie's big win? Worse. He's got her doing mini interviews with architecture journalists. She's talking about bringing architecture to the masses and making design accessible through lifestyle influence. I peeked through the curtain. There they were. Dad in his best suit, Mom looking uncomfortable, Sophie in that $5,000 dress, live streaming everything. Their table had 12 seats, all filled with Dad's most important connections. Ms. Henderson? Mayor Patricia Williams appeared beside me, elegant in navy blue. Ready to change Seattle's skyline? Ready as I'll ever be, Mayor Williams. She studied my face. Your father doesn't know, does he? No, ma'am. Robert Henderson's about to learn a valuable lesson about assumptions, she smiled. I've dealt with him on city planning committees. He could use some humility. I just want to accept my award and move forward. Of course you do. She squeezed my shoulder. But sometimes the universe delivers justice whether we seek it or not. Your Metro housing initiative will help thousands of families. That's worth celebrating, regardless of who's embarrassed. Through the curtain, I watched Sophie pose for photos, her followers watching live, the countdown in her stories hitting 0. 8:30 p.m. 15 minutes until truth met fiction. From backstage, I had a perfect view of the Henderson family performance. Robert commanded the VIP table like a king holding court. Sophie's been working on this for years, he told Thomas Barrett, the biggest developer in Seattle. Architecture isn't just about buildings anymore. It's about lifestyle, influence, connection. Sophie understands that. Sophie, for her part, was in full influencer mode. Her phone propped against a champagne glass, broadcasting to 80,000 viewers. Guys, I'm literally shaking. In 10 minutes, everything changes. Dad says this will revolutionize how people think about architecture. Mom sat quietly, occasionally glancing at the empty 13th chair, mine. She'd texted once. Where are you? I hadn't responded. Is Eaton coming? Someone asked Dad. His jaw tightened. Eaton's made her choices. Tonight is about Sophie, about the future of the Henderson name in this industry. Sophie laughed, bright and fake. My sister's probably at home, working on her little projects. She never did understand the importance of visibility. Marcus Smith sat 3 tables away with the Foster Plus Partners delegation. He caught my eye through the curtain gap and raised his champagne slightly, a silent toast to what was coming. The MC took the stage for the 8:40 transition. Ladies and gentlemen, in 5 minutes we'll be presenting our most prestigious award of the evening. Sophie stood, smoothing her dress, checking her makeup in her phone camera. This is it, everyone. Thank you for being part of my journey. The comments flooded her screen. Get it, Queen? So proud? Henderson Dynasty. Robert pulled her close, whispering something that made her nod confidently. They had no idea they were about to become Seattle's most viral disaster. 8:45 p.m. The ballroom lights dimmed, spotlights hitting the stage. The MC's voice boomed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Emerging Architect Award recognizes innovation, impact, and excellence in architectural design. This year's winner has revolutionized affordable housing in Seattle. Sophie was already standing, her phone held high to capture her walk to the stage. Dad beamed, his chest puffed with pride. The winner of the $250,000 grant for the groundbreaking Metro Housing Initiative that will provide homes for 200 families at 40% traditional cost. Sophie took a step toward the stage. Her livestream viewers were screaming congratulations in the comments. Is the founder and CEO of Henderson Architecture Studio. Dad started clapping. Sophie was halfway to the stairs. Ms. Eaton Henderson. The silence was deafening. Sophie froze mid-step, her phone still recording. Dad's applause died in his hands. The entire ballroom turned to stare at the empty chair at the Henderson table. Ms. Eaton Henderson, please come to the stage. I walked out from the side entrance, passing directly in front of my family's table. Sophie's face cycled through confusion, shock, and rage in the span of 3 seconds. Her phone captured it all. Dad's expression was stone, but his knuckles were white on the table. The audience erupted in confused murmurs, then gradually, applause. They didn't understand the family drama. They just knew the architect behind the Metro Housing Initiative was being recognized. I climbed the stairs, accepted the award from Mayor Williams, and took my place at the podium. 500 faces stared back at me, but I only saw 3. Dad's fury, Mom's shock, and Sophie's live-streaming devastation. Thank you, I began, my voice steady. This award belongs to everyone who believes architecture can change lives. Can you imagine the look on their faces? If you're enjoying this story of quiet success and public vindication, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you want to hear more stories about underdogs who proved everyone wrong, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Trust me, what happens next is even better than you think. The walk from the side entrance to the stage took 15 seconds. It felt like 15 years of vindication compressed into slow motion. I passed their table close enough to see everything. Sophie's phone shook in her hand, still live streaming to 80,000 viewers who were witnessing her humiliation in real time. The comments had shifted from congratulations to confusion. Wait, who's that? Is that her sister? OMG, she played you! Dad's face had turned an alarming shade of red. He looked like he wanted to stand, to stop me, to say something, but we were surrounded by his peers, his clients, the very people he'd bragged to. Thomas Barrett was already leaning away from him, whispering to his wife. Mom had covered her mouth with her hand, but I caught something in her eyes. Was it pride? Relief? After all these years, maybe she was glad someone finally stood up to them. As I climbed the stage stairs, Sophie found her voice. That's my award! Dad, do something! Her shriek cut through the applause, causing heads to turn. The livestream viewers went wild. Drama! Your sister is the real architect? You've been lying? Marcus Smith stood at his table, clapping deliberately, making sure Dad saw him. The Foster Plus Partners team followed suit. One by one, industry professionals I'd worked with over 5 years rose to their feet. By the time I reached the podium, half the room was standing. The other half was watching the Henderson family table like it was reality TV. Mayor Williams handed me the award, a crystal skyline of Seattle, and whispered, "Your father looks like he's having a stroke." "He'll survive," I whispered back. "He always does." The applause continued, but all I heard was Sophie's live stream imploding in real time. Standing at the podium, I looked out at 500 faces and chose my words carefully. Thank you, Mayor Williams and the Pacific Northwest Architecture Association. This award represents 5 years of believing that good design shouldn't be a luxury. The Metro Housing Initiative started with a simple question. Why does affordable housing have to look like we've given up on beauty? Why can't families with limited incomes live in spaces that inspire them? I need to thank Marcus Smith, my mentor, who told me something crucial 5 years ago. Success doesn't need an audience until it's ready to help others. Tonight, with this grant and our partnership with Foster Plus Partners, we're ready to help 200 Seattle families find homes they can be proud of. I deliberately didn't look at my family's table, but I could feel the tension radiating from it. Architecture isn't about ego or Instagram followers or family legacy. It's about solving problems. It's about the single mother who needs a safe place for her children, the elderly couple who shouldn't have to choose between medication and rent, the young teacher who serves our community but can't afford to live in it. Henderson Architecture Studio started at my kitchen table with a simple belief: everyone deserves thoughtful design. Today, with 47 incredible employees and partners like the City of Seattle, I held up the contract number for the cameras. We're making that belief a reality. Thank you for this recognition. But more importantly, thank you for supporting a vision where architecture serves everyone, not just those who can afford penthouses. I paused, finally meeting Dad's eyes. Success is sweetest when it lifts others up, not when it tears them down. The applause was thunderous. Sophie had stopped recording, her phone dark in her limp hand. Mayor Williams took the microphone as I stood beside her, the award heavy in my hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand what Ms. Henderson has accomplished. The Metro Housing Initiative isn't just another development. It's the future of urban planning. Seattle is committing $50 million to this project because Eaton Henderson found a way to cut construction costs by 60% while exceeding environmental standards. She turned to me with a smile that Dad probably saw from space. Ms. Henderson represents the best of Seattle innovation. At just 32, she's solved problems that have stumped architects for decades. Her modular design system will be studied in universities. Other cities are already calling, wanting to replicate what she's built here. The Forbes photographer I'd noticed earlier was snapping photos rapidly. Tomorrow's headline was writing itself. I'm also thrilled to announce, the mayor continued, that Henderson Architecture Studio will be the lead firm for Seattle's 2025 Urban Renewal Project. This partnership will transform how our city approaches public housing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. That was a $100 million project over 5 years. I hadn't known she was announcing it tonight. Eaton Henderson isn't just Seattle's Architect of the Year, she's Seattle's architectural future. And personally, Mayor Williams looked directly at Dad's table. I always appreciate people who let their work speak louder than their words, or their social media. The burn was subtle, but devastating. Sophie had shrunk so far into her chair she was barely visible. Marcus Smith started the standing ovation. This time, the entire room rose, except for one table in the front row. Dad sat frozen, watching his carefully constructed evening collapse. Every person he'd invited to witness Sophie's triumph was instead witnessing his humiliation. I left the stage to a reception line of industry leaders, but the real show was happening at the Henderson table. Sophie had completely melted down. "This is fraud!" she screamed at no one in particular. "She stole my award, Daddy said. Daddy promised." "Sophie, sit down," Mom hissed, but it was too late. "No, this was supposed to be my night. I bought the dress. I told everyone." Her phone had fallen on the table, still streaming. The viewer count had exploded to 95,000, all watching Sophie Henderson self-destruct in real time. The comments were brutal. Fake! Imagine lying about being an architect. Her sister is the real deal. Security approached Dad discreetly. "Sir, we need to ask your party to—" "We're leaving," Dad snarled, grabbing Sophie's arm. But Sophie wasn't done. "You don't understand, she's nobody. I'm the one with followers. I'm the one who—" "Ma'am, please," security intervened. "You're disrupting the event." That's when Sophie made her fatal error. She slapped the security guard's hand away. 2 more guards materialized immediately. "We're escorting you out," the head of security said firmly. Now. The entire ballroom watched as Sophie was led out, still ranting about stolen awards and family betrayal. Dad followed, his face purple with rage and humiliation. Mom trailed behind, shooting me one unreadable look before disappearing. Thomas Barrett, Dad's biggest client, turned to his wife loud enough for everyone to hear. Robert Henderson's been lying about his daughter being an architect? That's concerning. What else has he lied about? My assistant Janet appeared at my elbow with her phone. Boss, you need to see this. Sophie's live stream is the #1 trending topic in Seattle. Hatch architecture babe fail. The family empire had collapsed in less than 10 minutes. With my family gone, the real evening began. Ms. Henderson? A woman in Armani approached. Jennifer Liu, Sakura Development. We're building in Tokyo and Dubai. After seeing your modular concepts, we'd love to discuss bringing you on as consulting architect. Before I could respond, another appeared. Patrick Stevens, Vancouver City Planning. That 40% cost reduction. Is it scalable to larger projects? The next hour was a blur of business cards, collaboration offers, and interview requests. Every major firm in the Pacific Northwest wanted to talk. The Foster Plus Partners team formally invited me to their London office. 3 universities asked about guest lectures. Marcus stood beside me like a proud father, the kind I'd never had. This is what happens when you let your work speak for itself, he said quietly. Your father spent years building his reputation on lies. You built yours on foundations. Mr. Smith, did you know Eaton was Robert's daughter? Someone asked. I've mentored Eaton for 5 years, Marcus replied smoothly. In all that time, she never once traded on her father's name. She earned everything herself. The implications hung in the air. Robert Henderson had been using his family as props, while his daughter had been revolutionizing architecture in silence. Janet showed me her phone again. Sophie's Instagram is hemorrhaging followers. She's down 30,000 in the last hour. Brands are pulling sponsorships. The hashtag #FakeArchitectBabe is trending nationally. And Dad? 3 of his major clients have already tweeted about reassessing partnerships and valuing honesty in business. I felt no satisfaction, just a hollow relief. The truth was finally out. Ms. Henderson? A reporter from the Seattle Times approached. Can we get a statement about tonight's events? My work speaks for itself, I said simply. It always has. By Saturday morning, Sophie's digital empire had completely collapsed. The live stream clips had been turned into memes. Sophie mid-stride to the stage, her face when my name was called, security escorting her out. When you fake it but don't make it, became the caption of choice. Her Instagram followers dropped from 80,000 to 15,000 in 48 hours. Only the hate watchers remained. The brand deals evaporated instantly. Her sponsored posts were deleted. The companies issued statements distancing themselves. We were unaware of Ms. Henderson's misrepresentations. The astrology app, the lifestyle course, the coaching program, all canceled their partnerships. But the worst part was the investigative thread that went viral on Twitter. Someone had compiled every time Sophie claimed architecture credentials, the fake portfolio, the stolen project images, the times she'd implied she worked at my firm. The thread had 2 million views. Breaking, one tweet read. Sophie Henderson has been cosplaying as an architect while her sister built an 8.5 million firm. The entitlement is staggering. Robert's professional reputation took massive hits, too. The Seattle Business Journal ran a piece. Questions arise about Robert Henderson's business ethics after gala deception. 3 major clients publicly ended their partnerships. The real estate board announced they were reviewing his membership. His LinkedIn post about Sophie's award had become a monument to hubris, thousands of comments calling him out for lying. Sophie tried damage control with an apology video, but it made things worse. She blamed miscommunication and family dynamics while fake crying in her apartment. The comments were merciless. Your sister paid for that apartment too, didn't she? By Sunday, she'd deleted all her social media accounts. 5 years of influence erased in a weekend. The internet had delivered justice faster than any court could have. Monday morning brought the professional reckoning. The Seattle Business Journal's headline: Robert Henderson loses board seat following architecture gala scandal. The real estate board had held an emergency weekend meeting. Lying to colleagues about his daughter's credentials was deemed conduct unbecoming of a board member. His company, Henderson Realty, lost 3 major clients publicly. Thomas Barrett gave an interview. Trust is everything in real estate. If Robert would lie about something as verifiable as his daughter's career, what else might he misrepresent? The whispers in the industry were louder than any announcement. Every meeting, every deal, someone would mention the gala incident. Robert Henderson, who'd spent 30 years building his reputation, watched it crumble in 72 hours. Sophie's situation was worse. She'd become unhireable. A leaked email from a PR firm she'd applied to. We cannot consider someone who publicly impersonated a professional architect. The liability issues alone. Even influencer agencies wouldn't touch her. Her name had become synonymous with fake it till you make it failure. Marketing blogs wrote case studies about her as a cautionary tale. The Sophie Henderson effect, when influence without substance implodes. Meanwhile, my firm received 17 new project inquiries from developers who appreciated honesty and proven expertise. The contrast wasn't lost on anyone. While the family members who'd claimed success fell apart, the one they'd dismissed was thriving. Marcus called Tuesday afternoon. The Foster Plus Partners Board is fast-tracking your collaboration agreement. They were impressed by how you handled the gala situation. Grace under pressure, they said. I just told the truth. In this industry, that's revolutionary. Your father's learning that the hard way. The Henderson name still meant something in Seattle architecture. It just wasn't what Robert had planned. The extended family rallied like I'd never seen before, just not around who Dad expected. Grandma called Wednesday morning. Eaton, sweetheart, I owe you an apology. I watched that live stream, the whole thing. I had no idea what Robert and Sophie were really like, or what you'd accomplished. The aunts group text transformed overnight. Where they'd demanded I support family, they now shared my Forbes article with pride. Our niece, the real architect. Cousin Jennifer admitted she'd always suspected Sophie was full of it, but didn't want to cause drama. The most surprising call came from Mom, Thursday evening. I'm proud of you, she said quietly. I should have said it years ago. Should have stood up to your father, defended you. I was a coward. Mom, no, let me finish. I watched you build something incredible while we ignored you. You deserved better parents. I'm staying with my sister for a while. Your father and I need to figure out if there's anything left worth saving. What about Sophie? Sophie's learning that Instagram followers don't pay rent. She asked if you'd hire her. I told her she needs to earn her own way for once. The family WhatsApp group, usually full of Sophie's selfies and Dad's business brags, had gone silent. Then Uncle Pete, Dad's brother, posted, "Congratulations to Eaton on her award. The only Henderson actually building things instead of just talking about them." The likes poured in. Everyone except Dad and Sophie. For the first time in my life, the family saw me. Really saw me. It shouldn't have taken public humiliation for them to recognize my worth, but at least the truth was finally out. Better late than never, Grandma texted privately. Your grandfather would be so proud. 2 weeks after the gala, Dad emailed, not called, emailed, Robert Henderson admitting defeat through carefully drafted text. Eaton. There may have been some misunderstandings about the gala situation. Emotions were running high, and perhaps things were said that weren't entirely accurate. Sophie was confused about the award details, and I was simply supporting my daughter based on the information I had. I think we should meet to discuss moving forward as a family. Despite recent events, you're still my daughter, and families should support each other. Your success with your company is admirable, and perhaps there are ways we could work together. Your connections could help rebuild some of the relationships that were affected by this misunderstanding. Let me know your availability. Robert Henderson. No apology. Misunderstanding. Perhaps. Information I had. I responded professionally. Robert, I'm open to rebuilding our relationship on new terms. However, there will be conditions. 1. No discussion of money, property transfers, or business partnerships. 2. No requests for professional connections or endorsements. 3. Acknowledgement of my professional boundaries. 4. Respect for my achievements without attempting to claim credit or benefit from them. If you can agree to these terms, we can meet for coffee at a neutral location. I suggest the Starbucks on Pine Street, Saturday at 10 a.m. Eaton. His response came within an hour. Those terms seem excessive, but I'll agree for now. Will Sophie be invited? That depends on whether Sophie can apologize without qualifiers or excuses. She's going through a difficult time, her entire career, her fabricated career. If she wants to rebuild, she needs to start with honesty. The silence that followed told me everything. Sophie wasn't ready to apologize. She probably never would be. Saturday morning, Pine Street Starbucks. I arrived early, choosing a corner table with clear sightlines, a habit from years of uncomfortable family meetings. Dad walked in 5 minutes late, looking older. His usual power suit replaced with khakis and a polo, the uniform of a man no longer trying to impress anyone. He ordered black coffee, no pleasantries with the barista he'd usually charm. You look well, he said, sitting down. I am well. Your mother's still at her sister's. I know. He shifted uncomfortably. About the gala. Stop. We're not relitigating that night. These are my terms going forward. We can have quarterly family dinners. You can tell people I'm your daughter, but you cannot use my success for your benefit. No bringing potential clients to meet me, no name-dropping my projects, no implying you had anything to do with my career. That seems non-negotiable. Also, Sophie apologizes genuinely or she's not included. She's struggling, Eaton, lost everything. She lost things she never actually had. There's a difference. Dad's jaw tightened, the old Robert fighting to emerge. But he had no leverage anymore. Fine. Your terms. But I want you to know I was trying to help Sophie. She needed honesty. You gave her entitlement. Look where it led. I suppose you're happy about how things turned out. I'm relieved the truth is out. Happy? No. Watching your family implode publicly isn't satisfying. It's just sad. He studied his coffee. Sophie refuses to apologize, says you humiliated her on purpose. I accepted an award I earned. If that humiliated her, she needs to examine why she thought it was hers. So she's not invited to these quarterly dinners? Not until she can acknowledge reality. This is harder than any deal I've negotiated. Because you can't lie your way through it. Our first official quarterly dinner was awkward enough to measure in geological time. Mom had returned home but insisted on neutral territory, a restaurant, not their house. She looked lighter somehow, like admitting the truth had removed invisible weight. How's the Metro Housing Initiative? She asked, genuinely interested. Breaking ground next month. The mayor's doing a ceremony. We're not invited, I assume, Dad said stiffly. It's a public event. You can attend like any other citizen. The conversation limped along. Weather, Mom's book club, anything but the obvious. Sophie's absence hung over the table like smoke. Mom had set a place for her, just in case. She's working at Nordstrom now, Mom finally said. Retail, starting over. Good for her. She watches your interviews, Dad admitted reluctantly. The one with Architectural Digest. She played it 3 times. Maybe she's learning. She's bitter, Eaton. Says you planned the whole thing. I planned nothing except accepting my own award. The rest was your production. Dessert arrived. We'd made it 90 minutes without anyone storming out. Progress. As we left, Mom hugged me. I'm proud of you for setting boundaries. I should have done it years ago. Dad offered his hand. Not a hug, but contact. Next quarter, Maybe Sophie will be ready. Maybe. Walking to my car, I felt the strangest sensation. Hope. Not for reconciliation. That ship had sailed. But for something new. A family rebuilt on truth instead of performance. My phone buzzed. Janet. Foster Plus Partners wants to announce the collaboration Monday. You ready to go international? I was ready. For the first time in my life, I was moving forward without looking back for approval that would never come. The validation I'd needed was the one I'd built myself. April 2025. The Metro Housing Initiative's first building stood complete, families moving in as news crews captured the moment. Henderson Architecture Studio had grown to 68 employees. The Foster Plus Partners collaboration had led to projects in London, Tokyo, and Dubai. The company valuation had reached $15 million. The penthouse Sophie had demanded now served as my office's conference room, a daily reminder that boundaries were worth defending. Your father's here, Janet announced, surprising me. Robert stood in my office doorway, looking genuinely impressed. This is extraordinary. Thank you. I mean it. What you've built, what you're doing for the city. I was wrong about you. About everything. It was the closest to an apology I'd ever get. I've been telling my colleagues about your work, he continued. Properly, accurately. My daughter, the architect. No embellishments needed. I appreciate that. Sophie sent this. He handed me an envelope. Inside, a handwritten note. Eaton, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not for losing followers or sponsors, but for trying to steal what you earned. I'm in therapy now, learning why I felt entitled to your success. Maybe someday we can talk, Sophie. She means it, Dad said. She's been working, saving money, seeing a therapist, no social media at all. That's good to hear. The next quarterly dinner is in 2 weeks. Will you? If Sophie comes, we can try, but one step at a time. Dad nodded, then did something unexpected. He looked at the wall of awards and smiled. Your grandfather would have loved this. He always said the quiet ones change the world. After he left, I stood at my window, looking at the city I was helping reshape. The journey from invisible daughter to visible architect had been painful, but necessary. Looking back, the most valuable thing I learned wasn't about architecture. It was about worth. For 32 years, I'd measured my value through my family's eyes. Every dismissed achievement, every forgotten milestone, every comparison to Sophie had slowly convinced me that success only counted if they acknowledged it. But success doesn't need an audience. It needs purpose. The Metro Housing Initiative now sheltered 200 families. Kids had safe places to play. Parents had dignity in their homes. That mattered more than Instagram followers or gala applause. Setting boundaries with my family hadn't destroyed us. It had saved what was salvageable. Without the lies, manipulation, and false expectations, we could finally see each other clearly. Dad was learning to respect what he didn't control. Mom was finding her voice. Sophie was discovering who she was without the performance. And me? I was free. Free from seeking approval that would never come. Free from shrinking myself to make others comfortable. Free from the exhausting cycle of trying to earn love that should have been unconditional. The city project expanded. Other mayors called, wanting their own versions. Universities created courses around our modular system. The girl who'd been too quiet was now speaking at conferences worldwide. But the real victory was smaller. I could have dinner with my family without armor. I could celebrate my successes without guilt. I could be proud without permission. My new project focused on housing for domestic violence survivors. Women rebuilding their lives needed safe spaces. I understood that journey now. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't the one that celebrates you. Sometimes you have to build your own foundation. The best revenge is a life well lived, Marcus had said. He was wrong. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's freedom. Today, Henderson Architecture Studio stands as proof that quiet excellence speaks loudest. We're breaking ground on affordable housing in 12 cities. The Foster Plus Partners collaboration has become a permanent partnership. Young architects email daily, asking for mentorship, especially the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the ones whose families don't understand them. I tell them all the same thing. Your worth isn't determined by family approval. It's built project by project, choice by choice, boundary by boundary. Sophie and I talk now, carefully, honestly. She's studying interior design, starting real this time. Dad brags about both daughters accurately. Mom started therapy, unpacking years of enabling. We're not perfect. We're not close. But we're honest, and that's enough. My penthouse remains mine, a daily reminder that some things aren't meant to be shared, and that's okay. Success doesn't need an audience, but when it gets one, make sure it's on your terms. Thank you for joining me on this journey of standing up for yourself and setting healthy boundaries. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear that their worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Comment below with your own story of overcoming family doubt. I read every single one. Remember, success doesn't need an audience, but when it gets one, make sure it's on your terms. See you in the next video.